In the far western plains, beyond the last stretch of the trade roads, there stood a forgotten village called Red Hollow. It was a dry land, where the sun ruled like a cruel king and mercy had long been buried beneath dust and fear. The people of Red Hollow lived by one law above all others: never give shelter, food, or water to a stranger. No one remembered who created this law. Some said it was born after thieves poisoned a well long ago. Others whispered that strangers once brought war and disease. Whatever the truth, the rule became sacred, enforced not by justice, but by terror. Anyone who broke it was punished publicly, so that fear would survive longer than kindness. Among the villagers lived a woman named Eliza Moore. Eliza was a widow, thin as the wheat stalks that barely survived the soil. Her hands were rough, her back already bent by years of labor. She lived with her aging father, Thomas Moore, a man broken by debt and obedience to the village elders. Eliza was known for one dangerous thing: she still believed in mercy. One afternoon, when the sun burned white and the air itself seemed to crack, Eliza walked toward the old well at the edge of the village. The well was nearly dry, guarded like treasure. As she approached, she heard a sound: a low, desperate groan. Behind a fallen fence lay a man, a stranger. His lips were split, his eyes sunken deep into his skull. His clothes were torn, covered in dust and blood. He tried to speak, but only one word escaped his mouth: water. Eliza froze. She knew the law. She knew the punishment. Her hands trembled as she looked around. No one was watching. The village was quiet, hiding from the sun. She thought of turning away, but then she remembered her late husband, who once collapsed on the road and was saved by a stranger who gave him water without asking a name. Tears filled her eyes. She lowered the bucket into the well, drew what little water remained, knelt beside the man, and pressed the cup to his lips. He drank slowly, painfully, like a man returning from death. "God bless you," he whispered. Before she could answer, a shout cut through the air. The village guards had seen everything. By sunset, the bell of Red Hollow rang, a sound reserved only for punishment. Eliza was dragged into the square. The stranger was gone, vanished like a ghost, leaving her alone to face the judgment. The elders stood in a circle, faces hard, eyes empty. "You broke the sacred law," the chief elder said. "You gave water to a stranger." Eliza fell to her knees. "He was dying," she cried. "I only—" Before she could finish, the punishment was declared. She would be forced to plow the fields of every family in Red Hollow. No rest, no payment, no mercy. If she failed, the punishment would continue, with pain. Her father stood among the crowd. He did not speak. He did not defend her. At dawn, Eliza was handed a rusted plow and an old mule barely strong enough to stand. The land was dry, hard as stone. She plowed the first field under the rising sun, then the second. Her hands bled. Her feet collapsed beneath her. By nightfall, she had finished 2 farms. She collapsed outside her shack, coughing blood into the dust. No one brought her water. The sun rose again. Eliza tried to stand. Her legs failed her. She dragged herself to the field, but the plow would not move. Her body refused to obey. The guards arrived. "You refuse to work?" they said. "I can't," she whispered. "Please, I beg you." They dragged her into the square. Even then, she searched the crowd for one face. Her father's. "Father," she cried, "please speak for me." Thomas Moore stepped forward, but fear lived deeper in him than love. "She must obey the law," he said, his voice shaking. "She brought this on herself." The whip fell. Again and again, the sound echoed through Red Hollow, louder than the bell. That night, Eliza did not return home. They found her at the edge of the fields, lying beside the broken plow. Her hands were still gripping the reins. Her eyes were open, staring at the sky. The ground beneath her was wet, not with water, but with blood. The next morning, the well dried completely. No rain came that season. The crops failed. The land cracked. And in the years that followed, travelers whispered of a cursed village where kindness died and took everything with it. Some said that on the hottest days, near the empty fields, a woman could be seen kneeling, offering water to the dying. But no one in Red Hollow ever drank again without remembering the woman who gave water and paid with her life. Eliza's body was buried without prayer. No priest came. No bell rang. Only the dry wind passed over her grave. carrying dust instead of tears. The villagers of Red Hollow returned to their lives as if nothing had happened. They told themselves the law had been honored, that order had been preserved. Yet something invisible had shifted the moment Eliza's blood touched the soil. 3 days after her death, the wells began to fail. The main well cracked down its stone walls, the water sinking into the earth as if swallowed. Buckets came up empty. Children cried from thirst. Livestock collapsed beneath the sun. The elders gathered again in the square. "This is coincidence," one of them said. "The land has always been cruel." But fear crept into their voices. On the 7th day, a lone rider appeared at the edge of Red Hollow. He wore a long coat, darker now, his face stronger than before, but his eyes were the same. The stranger Eliza had saved. He dismounted slowly and walked into the village square, staring at the dry well. "I came back to thank her," he said. "Where is the woman who gave me water?" No one answered. An old child, too young to fear the law, whispered, "They worked her to death." The stranger's face hardened. He knelt, scooped a handful of dust, and let it fall through his fingers. "This land remembers," he said quietly, "and it will answer." That night, Thomas More sat alone in his shack. He had not spoken since Eliza's death. Her voice haunted him. When the stranger knocked at his door, Thomas trembled. "She saved my life," the stranger said. "And you watched her die." Thomas fell to his knees. "I was afraid," he cried. "I chose the law over my daughter." The stranger placed a small flask on the table, still half full of water. "This was hers," he said. "She gave it to me." Thomas reached for it with shaking hands, but the stranger stopped him. "She gave water freely," he said. "You deserve thirst." By morning, Thomas More was dead. His lips cracked, the flask untouched beside him. Weeks passed. No rain came. Fields turned to ash. Animals fled or died. People began leaving Red Hollow, one by one, their wagons creaking under desperation. Those who stayed spoke of strange things. At night, footprints appeared near the fields, bare, thin, leading nowhere. Some swore they saw a woman kneeling near the well, her hands bleeding, offering water that vanished before it could be taken. The elders abandoned the village last. Red Hollow became a ghost town, swallowed by the plains. Travelers avoid the place now, but those who pass too close hear a whisper carried by the wind. Mercy is never a crime, and they say that somewhere beneath the cracked earth, a woman rests, not remembered by her people, but remembered by the land. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, and write in the comments from which country you are watching.